I think the system looks so attractive. I think we spend so much time when we are maybe choosing a home or we're designing a home. We work with architects to see what's the home going to look like. We work with an interior architect to see what the inside of the home is going to look like. We work with interior designers to get that right aesthetic. But it's really important, I think, when we're looking at, the systems that we're putting into our house, that they equally look good and they really complement everything else that we have in the home. And I think certainly the Sigenergy delivers that.
So here we have the new hybrid inverter. As you can see, the footprint of this is actually quite small. Not much bigger than what you might see a standard switchboard in your house these days. It doesn't even come out any further than the switchboard here. So if it's in a hallway or something like that, you're not going to brush past it.
Isn't it a great consideration actually for somebody who maybe has living in more of an urban setting where it could be a smaller house footprint that they have? Yeah. That it is going to fit in that. They're not going to fit. Sometimes I think people think that they have to maybe have a larger utility room where they can take all of these things. And again, when it looks good, you don't mind having it in more of a public space in the house.
Yeah, definitely. And it's super quiet as well. Yeah. So this is the hybrid inverter, which is converting DC power from your solar panels. And it can also be connected up to a battery. So it's 2-in-1. That's why it's the hybrid inverter. Right. The really nice thing about this is a high voltage battery. So, connects into high voltage batteries, so they can be up to 20 meters away from the inverter itself. Typically with an older system you would have to have your batteries below it or within a couple of meters, which means that the location where you can put this is really restricted in your houses. So the battery unit, which is here, which is a 9 kilowatt battery with the battery management system on top, that can be located outdoors, it can be wall mounted or floor mounted. And it is quite sleek. So this is a 9 kilowatt battery, which has the same profile as the 6 kilowatt battery. So you can mix and match depending on how much you want to spend. If you didn't want to get 2 9 kilowatts, you could put a 6 on top of this as well, which would get you up to a nice size of 15 kilowatts, which is what a lot of houses are using overnight.
That actually, just in terms of say the battery requirements, is a good starting point for homes. What would you recommend in terms of battery size?
Well, a lot of people are going with one battery, and you can add another battery down the track. Between sort of the 10 to 16 kilowatt mark is really good for most homeowners, but it depends on the size of your house and how if you're home during the day and things like that. So that's where a bit of design is important with this sort of thing. But with dynamic charging and different things like that, there's ways to make money back with the batteries that are installed.
And I think it's an important point to make as well that it's a high voltage battery. It basically, the size of the cables that must connect it between the inverter and the battery itself are smaller because the power is carried at a higher voltage. So typically you have to you basically, as Angus said, have to locate the battery really close to a solar inverter, but you still lose quite a lot of the energy through heat in the cables and this sort of thing. On average, with a low voltage battery, it's about 5% round trip. So the power, there's a loss about 2.5% going in and the same going out of the power in the battery. While with this, it's 1% each way, so about 2% total. So with just like a 9 kilowatt hour battery, if you're doing an average of 2 cycles a day on the battery, which is what we'd call a charge discharge. Maybe you're charging from the grid at nighttime and you're charging using the sun during the day. Compared to just a standard low voltage battery, it's over 1,000 kilowatt hours of energy that won't be lost even in cable losses between a high voltage battery versus a low voltage battery, just with the 9 kilowatt hour. So this is a real material difference.
Sounds just like such an innovative product, really. It certainly seems to be maybe the Rolls Royce of what's out there in the market in terms of what it has in terms of those features and benefits. And so often I think, certainly as a homeowner who would have installed a number of years ago, it's great to get this information and become very educated, and it really helps you in terms of making the right decision for your home. I think that's a lot of what we do here at ProSolar, isn't it? That we really take time to listen to our customers, understand their needs, understand their budgets and their objectives. And we really do design a home design a solution that really is fit for those homeowners. It's not an off-the-shelf solution. It really is designed particularly to meet the need of our homeowners.
And that's actually, it's a really important point because the actual, this equipment is future ready. It's fresh off the shelves. It's ultra modern. It's the best that solar has to offer right now. You'll see that in terms of all the international reviews as well. You know, some people are getting installed what would have been the technology of 5 or 6 years ago, and to be honest, the things are going to be outdated, and they're outdated by the time they get fitted into your house. This is available already, you know. So in terms of the you know, budgets and money to spend, we think that this is a V2 product, a more advanced product, ready to go for the next few years, the future, while much of the brands that are maybe initial installation cost is a little bit less to get, in terms of the value that they'll provide, the fact that it is it's you're updating the software, the hardware, the equipment is the best you can get right now, is very important, and it should be valued.
So really, you're looking at a better return on your investment, and you're looking at a better payback overall.
Yes, 100%. You know, there have been advancements. We found, you know, we have over 60 of installations using this make of equipment at the moment. The you know, the issue rate in terms of the product is absolutely minimal. It's pretty much perfect in terms of reliability. We've never had that before either. You know, so it's just a more bulletproof product.